Welcome to Wish I Wrote It. Y'all know why I started this program, because I needed inspiration. And guess what? Tonight's show is all about inspiration. I have with me Paula Boggs of the Paula Boggs Band. Paula Boggs Band blends jazz and Americana. Paula is the front woman and is on her third career with earlier stints in the Army and business law. Here's some of the reviews. These are spectacular. Boggs makes urban jazzy music within the structures of folk, bluegrass, and blues. She calls soulgrass and reminds me a little of Gil Scott-Heron, if only for the razor intensity of her words. In a croony-rich street voice, evocative and easy to like. This was Dave Good from the San Diego Reader. Americana UK says, rewriting the bluegrass story from a Black perspective. And Audiophaz says one of my favorite reviews is that Boggs is like the Dylan, the Peter, Paul, and Mary, the Joan Baez of this era. That's Phil King from AudioFuzz.com. It doesn't get any better than that. Guys, let's welcome one of my favorite artists, and I'm just so over the moon, Paula Boggs.
Hi there. I'm Mehuman, and hi everyone listening and watching.
I'm like fangirling right now. I'm just like, this is just so great to have you. And our byline is everything worthwhile starts and ends with a song. So could you kick us off with some of your music?
Sure. Happy to do that.
It's 6 a.m. again. I get up for a run through humid environs. Street life's barely begun. No one's hanging out on corners or boozing on their porch, except Uncle John with his moonshine, patent pendant torch. I passed McKinley High School in Piney Branch Hill, heading towards Deep People's Park, powered by adrenaline. A runner scuttles by me, now and then a bike or two, as I cross Devil's Foot Bridge. Beneath me smells of dew. Yes, I was born here, but that don't make it home. 1202 ain't local on my cell phone. It's not my home. I'm just a stranger passing through. It's not my home. Though I love how you do you, maybe someday I'll return, pay you back for all I learned. It's Ebony Revisited, but Lord, it's not my home. My mama and her kinfolk came by colored-only bus. My daddy got here later, invited by campus. Some call it Chocolate City, others say it's woke. But just like John Sayles' brother, I don't always get the joke. You see, my family left here when I was 4 years old. Myself and my grandparents resting under tombstones. Soon enough thereafter, we moved to distant shores. It's your heart to know your birthplace from an alien ward. Yes, I was born here, but that don't make it home. 1202 ain't local on my cell phone. It's not my home. I'm just a stranger passing through. It's not my home. Though I love how you do you, baby, someday I'll return. Pay back for all I learned. It's heavenly revisited, but Lord, it's not my home. It's not my home. It's not my home. It's not my home. It's not my home.
Wow, that is a powerful song. Powerful.
Thank you.
Wow. So there's a lot of pain in that song.
Yes.
There's a lot of
there is pain, and you know, a lot of people have said to me that song really moves me, and I think it's because so many of us wrestle with this question of home and what is it at the end of the day? Is it where we were born? Is it where we live now? Is it even a geographic place? Is it the people in our lives? Is it chosen family? There's so many possible definitions of home, and so many of us are displaced in many ways, and so this notion of home can be a moving target too. You know, what was home even a year ago may not be home today.
Yeah. And belonging, like one of our hierarchy of needs is longing to belong. And in these days, there's a question about safety and acceptance, and these are some of the qualities that we look for in home, like where are we safe? You know, and that's a big question, especially for people of color in the West, is, you know, determining that, and women determining that, and people in general determining that. That's powerful. It's very, you know, I'm a nomad of nature, have always been, and that's been a big journey for me to figure out where home is. So we probably should have done that song third, because I feel a little weepy. That's been a big question for me for years, about where is home. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, I consider myself a nomad also. And interestingly, only recently I learned through my sister's DNA test that we're actually 10% North African. So we are maybe 30% Western Bantu, Cameroon, that sort of thing, and I think 20% Nigerian. But there's this 10% that is North African / Sardinian that very much surprised me. I had no idea. But then I said, wow, that's why I'm so nomadic, because of the North African in me. Because, you know, if you can draw a straight line from Sardinia to Nigeria, I mean, you know, you can look at a map, and over the course of 1,000 years, for people to move from one place to the other, you must be a nomad, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You must be. You must be someone who's been able to survive desert and lack of water and all this other stuff. And knowing that about my DNA and what I'm made of was so inspiring to me. And it explained something too. It was like, yeah, I've got legit nomad in me through the North African piece, right?
Yeah, I gotta recheck mine then. I have 9 siblings, and I want to find. I haven't looked. I don't know if we have North African or not, but I should check. And how many siblings do you have?
I have 3 siblings, so there are 4 of us total.
Yeah, and they say that each sibling should do the DNA test, so because we can get different combinations within each sibling, giving different characteristics. So that's really interesting, really powerful. Wow. Would you like to do another song for us?
Sure. This next song is called Shadow of Old Glory, and just a bit of explanation about it. I was inspired to write this song in the immediate aftermath of the Tree of Life synagogue massacre, and one of the things that struck me about that heinous event was how similar it was to the Mother Emanuel AME massacre in Charleston. And so it just really hit me that, these two groups of people that, often don't see eye to eye, Jewish people, African Americans, at the end of the day, haters saw no difference between our two peoples, and the result was the same. And so the song Shadow of Old Glory comes out of that sentiment.
Waterford goblets, a staple malt scotch, great twin baby boys, his morning peaks through pains antiqued, enough to make you smile. The knife is blessed, the table set, young parents set the tone. His elders join 11 strong to consecrate this home. How could they know the evil right outside their door? Phantom folks fill the sick man's head, and before they were purged, 11 joined the dead. Guarding wild black read the headlines that day, planting to thwart Detroit's decay. A child of Moses raped and hung, but all he saw was evil, so dial 911. The cops arrived, grabbed him by the throat while justice choked, till a lady in a robe rewrote what might be just another story of a black man down in the shadow of old glory. We can't know what stokes our fears, makes us
dries our tears. With luck we get to see a world, our wounds suppressed within our breasts. With luck, Elohim, amen. Another black man helps his child shopping in a Kroger's, walking down an aisle as another hears Lucifer's bell. Shopping while black, this grandpa fell. His anguish screams and horror unfold in a place still cozy. The southern man crowed. We can't know what strokes our fears, makes us hate, dries our tears. But luck we get to see a world, our wounds suppressed within our breasts. With luck, Elohim, amen. With luck, Elohim, amen.
Wow. You know, that is unfortunately so poignant today too, because we just heard in the news that there was another shooting at a Jehovah's Witness house of worship in Germany. And you know, it boggles the mind, the whole levels of evil that we're seeing with these school shootings and these church shootings and these public spaces. And no one goes, you know, I was thinking about Sandy Hook the other day, and about the kids that a lot of the children who 10 years ago would be teenagers now, and all the parents who had no idea that's the last time they would see their children. And, you know, you go to the store and you don't know that's the last time you see your grandfather, or you go to, and again, with this idea of back with home and safety and really, really powerful. Your lyrics are, I'm not going to give it away, but I can so see why you're influenced by the person we were talking about earlier. And actually we could talk about it. So we're talking about it. You know, we were talking earlier about Nina Simone, and just, you know, the music is so powerful, but your lyrics are really, they draw you in, they have they're present, and they sit with you. And even with your review about being compared to Gil Scott-Heron. Folks, if you don't know who Gil Scott-Heron is, you should know who Nina Simone is. I'll give you, you know, you got to know that. But I'll give you a little pass if you don't know who Gil Scott-Heron is. But you should know who Gil Scott-Heron is as well. It really is the pulse of our current times, and to be able to take that kind of gravitas and put it into music is really, really a special gifting. And have you, all that is to ask, were you a poet first, a songwriter first? How does it come about for you as an artist?
You know, I saw this quote recently attributed to Tom Waits, who I consider to be a most amazing
Genius
songwriter. And the quote was, I may mess it up a little bit, but basically he said, "My most important musical instrument is vocabulary." And for me, that quote resonated so deeply. I started writing music when I was 10 years old, and it happened for me shortly after learning the guitar. Once I had an instrument, it sort of led to being able to put music to words. But words have always been so important to me, and I think it's one of the reasons why, you know, we Paula Boggs Band is not Beyonce, not, you know, we're not Ye, we're not, you know, we're the kind of band that right now we go to venues that are mostly, for the most part, there are a couple exceptions to that, but most of the venues we play in are, you know, 250 capacity or smaller. One of the beautiful things about that is many places we play are acoustically excellent. And what that means is people get to hear the lyrics as well as the instrumentation. And we try to arrange our songs in ways that facilitate a listener's ability to not miss, you know, what we're trying to say. And it has even influenced how I sing. My mindset as a singer is now really influenced by making sure, or doing all I can to make sure my voice doesn't get in the way of a listener hearing the lyrics of this song or any song that we perform.
You know, and that's really powerful, because I think so often, I can tell you, without naming names, I can tell you there's been so many songs that I'm so distracted by their voices that I kind of zone out on what they're saying. And oftentimes it's parallel to whatever they're saying isn't that important to me. But when there are powerful lyrics, it doesn't matter who it is. It could be Joe Cocker, it could be Dylan, it could be Beyonce, it could be whoever is saying whatever. But when Nina Simone, it could be, and it's definitely you, when the lyrics are arresting and they are provocative and they go right straight to the mind and to the heart and change your soul and activate you through thought and action, that's art.
That's art.
There's actually a Hebrew word where I put up that I love. It's called anava, which is translated as humility. But the literal definition of anava is to occupy your God-given space in the world, not to overestimate yourself or your abilities, or to underestimate them. And I love, as artists like you, fulfill and take up your space. And it's so important that you do, because otherwise that would be a void, and that the kind of responsibility it is of the work that you're doing is intense, because there are things that you write about are difficult, and that's being commissioned to write a song about the synagogue shooting is profundity, because that's things like that are you to take such tragedy and put it in the shape of art, the beauty of art, in a palatable art form is alchemy. It really is alchemy. And so just really stunning. You know, I would love to show folks where to find you, and I also will give shouts out to your bandmates who are making beautiful music with you as well. Would you like to go to your website?
Yes, let's go there.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So you're gonna have to tell me I'll drive, and you just tell me what you want to highlight.
Yes, if we begin on that that first page, and I think it's cycling through. And so what I will say to you is that you can kind of see it from how we look, but Paula Boggs Band is a very racially, ethnically, generationally diverse band, and we're kind of all over the map. We're Alex Dyring, who's being shown here, is Colombian American. I'm African American, of course. Our banjo player, Mark Chinen, who's laughing on the screen next to me in that shot, is Chinese American Hawaiian, kind of thing. And so he's got that going. Our percussionist is a Scandinavian, Norwegian American, married to a black woman. We're like all over we're all over the map. And I think, we're Christian, we're Jewish, we're Buddhist, we're atheist. And I think all of that really is reflected in the music we create and perform. And I think, all of us are, committed to this concept of, music can communicate in ways the spoken word sometimes cannot, that music heals. And, there's no greater compliment for us than someone in the audience coming up to us afterwards and saying, your music made me feel better than I felt when I came in this room. There's no higher compliment for us than that.
I have to agree, and I'm so excited because you guys have several shows coming up. It looks like too as well.
We do.
And let's see, all over the map. Wow.
All over the map. Yeah. So we're, based in Seattle, and each of those venues we're playing in are known for their acoustics, are known as listening rooms where people are coming not to, kind of smoke and joke. People are coming to really hear the music, and these venues are acoustically of the caliber to fuel that goal.
And you guys have a new video release recently for Ponies. I heard you play Ponies live at the Folk Alliance International in the Black American Music Summit room, which was absolutely stellar. And I see you dropped a new video, which was really fun. Would you mind if we played the video?
Not at all. Please do.
Why we got these ponies, why we got ponies that we don't know a damn thing about. We got ponies, why we got these ponies, why we got ponies that we don't know a damn thing about. We got ponies. No food on the table, we can't pay the rent. Cause you got seduced by funky equine set. Why did you name these ponies flashing stars? Workers full day fast when their bogus men are war. Why we got these ponies, why we got ponies that we don't know a damn thing about. We got ponies. Is it Timothy or Clover? So many kinds of hay. We don't have a friggin' clue. Let's give them both away. It must have seemed romantic and evoked news. I hate to break it to you, Ma, but this is horse abuse. Why we got these ponies, oh, why we got ponies that we don't know a damn thing about. We got ponies, why we got these ponies, oh, why we got ponies that we don't know a damn thing about. We got ponies, why we got these ponies, oh, why we got ponies that we don't know a damn thing about. We got ponies.
That is such a fun song. How'd that come about? Like, do you have horses? Do you have ponies?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's actually based on a true story. When I was a little kid, we moved on this acreage. We lived on 10 acres out in the country in rural Virginia, and my parents got intoxicated by this notion of living on a farm, and so they went with our neighbors to auction or fair or something, and came back with a pony. We knew nothing about ponies. My parents knew nothing about horses or ponies or any of that, and they knew so little about ponies that they didn't realize the pony was pregnant. And so before we knew it, we had 2 ponies. We had no idea what to do with. And so fortunately for them and my family, the folks next door did know about horses, and they bailed us out and really helped us tremendously, making just a horrific situation less bad. And it's comical now, but I can ask my mom today. My mom is now 85 years old, and I'll say, Ma, why did you buy that horse? And she can't give me a straight answer even now. So.
Oh my word. And it's one thing when it's a dog or a rabbit, when it's a horse.
Totally.
Land animal, second biggest land animal you find, or something like that. One of the biggest land animals. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. I love that. And it's really funny because I'm a new farmer in Tennessee, and my husband's funny me because I played this song for him. He's like, "We are not getting a horse. We are not getting a horse."
It's one of the things I love about the song, and I really I wrote it, but it really comes to life in the playing. That is, we write some heavy songs, and so it's really cool to have this lighthearted, whimsical song that is also who we are as a band, and me as a songwriter. And so to be able to do that is a lot of fun.
So flexible. I mean, that's really a real gift. Hey, how do people get a hold of you guys if they want to? They go to website or Instagram or Spotify? How is the best way for them to reach you guys?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Our band website is paulaboggsband.net, but we're all over social media. You name it. We're even on TikTok. So, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any of those. If you put in Paula Boggs Band, you will find us.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you guys, like, follow, and share. That's your commission. Like, follow, and share. You heard it. This is where you can find Paula Boggs Band. Like, follow, and share. It's more powerful than you ever know. Hey, is there any kind of nonprofits or social organizations in your area that you'd like to give a shout out to? Is doing good work in your area? Could be anybody.
Yes, I'd love to give a shout out to this amazing nonprofit called Key to Change. And Key to Change, their mission is to teach children and young people in the greater Seattle area the violin and other classical string instruments. It's founded by this amazing man, Quentin Morris, who is African American. He is just a whiz. He's a professor at Seattle University in violin in their music department. He is the classical music station King FM's first musician in residence in their history, and he has used that platform to showcase African Americans and African people in the world of classical music. And what he does with these kids, not all African American, but all underrepresented, from underrepresented groups, is yes, they learn an instrument, but they also learn the values associated with learning an instrument, and of course they include teamwork and discipline and the value of practice and performance. Some of the graduates of this program have gone on to study at some of America's most prestigious conservatories and music schools, including Peabody Conservatory, Juilliard, and the like, Eastman. And so, yes, at every opportunity, I try to put a spotlight on Key to Change.
Brilliant. That is doing the best work ever. There's so many studies about how music is transformative and how music it enhances every aspect of your life, and especially for youth, marginalized, at risk, or kids who are privileged. Music changes the world because, just like your band, it creates a picture of humanity. That's what it creates. And in classical music, it's really wonderful to see that too, is drawing all this returning diaspora to classical music, because we know that there's a history of diversity in classical music, but it often in current times hasn't been celebrated, and Key to Change is celebrating. And again, folks, like, follow, share, and donate. And if you can't donate, you can always volunteer. Volunteering
Absolutely.
is a great way to pay it forward. So Key to Change, you heard about it here. Paula Boggs, thank you so much for doing it. Hey, this show is called Wish I Wrote It, and it's celebrating artists who inspire. You inspire. And my byline is, everything worthwhile starts and ends with a song. Would you please take us out with one of your incredible songs?
I would be happy to do that. Now,
so have you ever gotten up to the great state of Maine before? Have you gotten up to New England before?
I have. In fact, the band has played a show in Maine, but I lived in Maine for 6 months, in ancient times back in the 80s.
Really?
And I did. I lived there for about 6 months, and I have written about that because for anybody who lives in Maine today, particularly if you are of color, you probably can't imagine what Maine was like back then.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I could go literally for weeks. People think I'm making this up, but I could go for weeks in Portland without seeing another Black person. And so because of that, whenever I did spot a Black person, even if that person was blocks away, I would run and find them and introduce myself to them, because I never knew when I would next see another Black person. And I was always curious too. I was genuinely curious. What brought you to Portland, Maine?
Exactly. I hail from the state of Maine. I live in Tennessee, half time in Maine, and it has changed so much. But you are absolutely right. We have 92 plus languages now in our high school, and it's incredible because we're a sanctuary state, and we have a large population of immigrants who come there, or new Mainers, we like to say, and it's actually interesting to see because the great state of Tennessee is having a similar resurgence of wonderful diversity in the city of Nashville. So I totally feel you, because I looked far and wide for many a year, and then you just like, hey, who are you? So it's really funny. I totally. So this summer I spend my summers in Maine. So if you guys are ever wanting to come up, by all means, we'd love to have you, and we will make you well at home. Or if you're ever in Nashville, look us up as well too.
Yes, so, we have played Nashville, but it was pre-COVID, and we need to figure out how to get back to that part of the country, because we loved it, and very much look forward to coming back. So the song I'm going to close out with is called King Brewster, and it is a true story of my ancestor and his journey from bondage to quote unquote freedom.
King Brewster was my daddy, born in 1829, to a slave and a master. That's how things were done. In Calhoun, Alabama, the Savior is found to rescue King's mama from disaster.
His Confederate brother bequeathed the pocket watch, as if that could compensate for all King Brewster lost. By the color of his skin and hum of cotton gin, no escape from breaking back, burning flesh, and being tracked down.
And the sun beats hot on King Brewster as his daddy cracks the whip like he was taught. No matter if he's kin, King's curse was black skin. Northern Cross, guide your pilgrim home. As soon as Lincoln said he could, King became a man. Signed up to vote, bought 80 acres of land. A needle in the haystack of government. Then Mr. Crow made all that in.
king once again was a second-hand man, 3/5 human, or so the judges said. It'd take another 100 years to see a second king. 50 years hence, the beat goes on.
And the sun beats high
On a land made by the native and the polyglot.
We can't repave the past, may the future be recast.
Northern Cross, guide your pilgrims home. Northern Cross, guide your pilgrims home. Northern Cross, guide your pilgrims.
Wow. What a powerful, powerful song. How did you find out the story, like to trace your lineage back that far? Were you able to do that?
It was the most amazing sequence of events. My sister got a phone call from a lawyer out of Alabama and asked her, are you the daughter of Nathaniel Boggs, my late father? And she said, yes, I am. I'm one of 4 children. What's this about? And I guess in Alabama, at least somewhat, they're trying to make, I don't think they use the term reparations, but they're trying to figure out what the rightful ownership of land that was stolen from Black people during Jim Crow. So,
wow,
historically, after enslaved people were freed, post-Emancipation Proclamation and so on, there was a period of time, and many of us in America fail to understand this. There was a period of time when Black men, at least, were voting, owning property, and doing all the other things that normal citizens do, right? They and then the hammer of Jim Crow came down with a vengeance, and with that bogus laws that made it near impossible for most Black people to vote. Property was that people had purchased. There were ways through redlining and mortgage practices and that sort, to take that land out from under people. And that was the story of my ancestor. He had, in the immediate aftermath of the Civil War, he was freed, and he was half white. His father was the slaver. And so the brother who was white, the son, the father recognized, knew that the Black person was his half brother. He knew this. And so when he died, he left, and I reference it in the song, he left a pocket watch to my ancestor. My ancestor was able to use that as, collateral somehow to purchase property. And once he did, he bought more, and he continued to until, Jim Crow came down, and that was that. So here was this ancestor I had never heard of before, and importantly, my late father never knew he had this ancestor.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, it begs the question: would my course of my father's life been different had he known in his lineage was someone like King Brewster, right? And it's an unknowable. The answer to that is unknowable. But just like I draw strength from knowing the stories of those who came before me. I mean, they lift me up. They give me strength when, everything around me is signaling something different, to know that I come from a people who did these despite the environment they were in. These incredible things gives me strength. And so, it's one of those, it's one of those unknowables because my dad was born in 1926 in Jim Crow, Alabama. Wow. So, he achieved much in his life, but as I've said in other settings, part of Jim Crow, Alabama never left my dad, right? Yeah. He was forever the product of those times. And, you take the person out of the place, but the place is always in them, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I'll never know that question, but that question inspired my writing, as did George Floyd's murder, because I couldn't escape the unbroken line between 8/29 and 2020.
Yeah. And there's a book, The Body Keeps Score, about trauma and how trauma shows up in a lifetime and also generationally. And these stories, again, like, it's so magnificent how you are able to take these really difficult topics, make them into beautiful songs, palatable songs that are also teaching people about some of the atrocities of our history that have inspired, Jim Crow inspired apartheid in South Africa.
Yes.
It actually was the model for
and Nazi Germany and Nazi Germany. I mean, the Nazis studied the segregation practices of Jim Crow, and they were going to do their evil thing regardless, but they also were studying how by legislation and law Jim Crow was able to subjugate a people. And they were inspired by that in what happened there.
And it's interesting that there are the two sides of inspiration, and that's why this show, Wish I Wrote It, has become so important. I know to me and to folks who enjoy watching it, that we have such, as artists, we have such power in the work that we do to inspire and influence, to counter some of the great evils done in the world. Paula Boggs, you are a treasure. I can't tell you how delightful it's been. I hope I can get on your schedule again to get you on the show again, because you are absolutely a treasure trove of artistry and knowledge, and just an absolute look. Anyone ever call you a treasure trove before?
I love it. I'm gonna hold that close to my heart.
You are. And I'm just delighted to have you, and thank you for being on Wish I Wrote It.
Thank you so very much for having me, and I look forward to the next time.